Persperity Podcast. In the shadows we find our light. Through the struggles we'll take flight. Healing hearts and mending minds. Together we'll leave the past behind. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Oh yeah, mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Trauma whispers, but love will shout. In this space of trust, there's no doubt. We'll explore the depths of pain and grace, finding strength in every embrace. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Take a breath and join the ride. Together we'll walk side by side with open hearts and open minds. In this podcast space, true peace we'll find. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma.
Hello, everybody. Before we get started, did you get a chance to send that out or to whoever, Miss Simpson? Awesome.
I did. Thank you.
So I just want to say, welcome back to Persperity Podcast. Today I have a story of creation, dedication, and finding beauty even in the building process. My topic is gracing her hands, a journey to building something beautiful. This isn't just about the final project; it's about the artistry and the persistence required to turn the vision into a tangible reality. I'm honored to welcome the woman who invested into the woman I am today, the visionary and incredibly kind hearted Jennifer Simpson. Miss Simpson, thank you so much for joining me. Let's get into this journey. So, I know you have a bed and breakfast, or right? Is that correct? Yes, you on?
I do.
Let's talk
I
about
do.
that
Yeah.
before we get into these
Uh-huh.
questions. The
Yep.
name, location. Yeah.
Okay. So the name of our bed and breakfast is the Mary House Inn, Merry House Inn. And it is located in Defiance, Missouri. So we are in the heart of Missouri wine country. So we have 3 suites that we rent out to folks who are traveling through. So it's a lot of fun.
Okay.
We meet a lot of cool people this
Okay. How
way.
can they book with you?
They can go to the Mary House Inn website. So it's actually, the maryhouseinn.com is our website. And so you can go on the website and check out the suites that we have available in our calendar. And if you stay on the weekend, I'll be here to make you a hot breakfast. If it's not me, it's our innkeeper, Miss Sharon. She helps me out if I'm out of town. If you're here during the week, then you get to have a continental breakfast. So no matter what, we've got a room for folks to stay in and a breakfast for them the next morning. So it's pretty fun.
So, what about lunch and dinner?
On your own for that. There's all kinds of wineries and breweries and restaurants around here within a couple miles. So October is our busiest month for sure. It's crazy around here. Once the temperatures start dropping a little bit, all the wineries have live music on the weekends, and so lots of folks ride the Katy Trail. They like to cycle the Katy Trail, and that's right across the street from us. So we get a lot of cyclists that come here as well. So lots of weddings. We have one of the rooms that we have is a bridal area where they can get ready. There's like big dressing area with 4 different stations. And so we get a lot of brides that come with their hair and makeup and all the girls and, do their thing. So that's pretty fun too. So yeah, it's a good time. We've been here about 4 years now.
Fun. It's
So
oh my gosh. When the
yeah,
last time I've seen you? Was it like it's been a while.
we had just, yeah, we had, you came by, right? Yeah, you
That's
stopped
when you
by.
were out.
So we had just bought this.
Winsville. I think so. Yeah, you
Was it in Winsville that you came by? Okay. So then it's been at least 4 years. Yeah. So it's been a
wow.
while. It's good to see you. You look like you're doing great, my friend.
Yes, I am. But we're gonna get into some questions too about, our about the past and everything, but we ain't gonna get too deep because Miss Simpson, we gonna talk about that other thing. We're gonna keep that in.
Okay. All right.
So let's
Sounds
get some of
good.
these questions. Okay, so your episode is
All right.
titled Grace in Her Hands. When you first hear that, what aspect of your professional life or creation process immediately comes to mind?
Grace in her hands. Well, my real job, this is my fun job. My real job is to be the transportation director for a local school district, right? And I'm on my 3rd school district now, and 22 and a half years I've been doing this. And so I think grace comes into play in a lot of different ways. Definitely with students, right? Like you, I get to meet as they're coming through the educational system, but also I employ about 200 people. And so that's a lot of people and personalities, and they all have different walks of life. And I think grace plays a big role in that as well, right? In supervising our staff and helping build not only good bus drivers and good team members, but good people. So to me, that's what that means. Yeah.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Yeah.
What was the
Please.
founding vision for your bed and breakfast? Was it simply a business or was it always intended to be a place that fostered comfort?
What a great question. So I have always wanted to own a bed and breakfast. It's been a dream of mine for a really long time. And so I have stayed at lots of bed and breakfast, kind of doing some research to see what I like and what I don't like. But the thing that I always liked about it the most was that it's just a very personal way to stay in a different location. There's hotel rooms everywhere. Everybody can go to a hotel room. It's very cold. You walk in, you get your room, you get your key. That's about it, right? But with a bed and breakfast, you usually get to meet the owner. It's a very personal connection. It's a much more private, connected business to the area that you're staying, as opposed to just the Marriott or the Hilton. Those are big chains. But you get to learn more about the community and the people that live in it when you stay in a bed and breakfast. And so that's the part that I love the most, is that we get to meet so many people. We've had people here from almost every state in the United States. We've had people from out of the country that have come and stayed with us. And so I just love to get to connect with people, because that's what I think I enjoy the most in life, is connecting with people. I love to hear their stories. What brought them to Defiance, Missouri? We're in the middle of nowhere, right? I mean, let's be honest. And so I always love to hear what brings them here and what they've done in life. And so that's what I enjoy the most. So it's been fun.
That's good.
And I kind of like to take care of people. You know that. I kind of like to take care of people, and I really like to feed them.
Yeah, yeah, for
So,
sure, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when I was younger and it was like, I think the Simpson household for sure, like it is not it is definitely a place where you're gonna eat for sure. It's gonna be some type of appetizer or something, or some type of meals flowing. It's like you definitely are a house that
Yeah.
likes to break bread. So for
Yeah. Nobody's leaving hungry. That's against the rules. You can't come to my house and leave hungry. That's not how it works, right? Like we're gonna make sure that you're happy and you're healthy and you're well fed. That's what we do here.
I love that. So transitioning to another question.
Yeah.
The word building implies both construction and creation. Can you describe the most challenging structural or design problem you faced and how you found the grace to solve it?
Well, let's see. I guess a big part of that is having children, right? Like, we have 3 kids, and so Justin and I have worked really hard together to build a healthy, happy family. We've always wanted our kids to know that it's okay to make mistakes, just own it, right? And we're going to learn from it together. We have not done everything perfect. We have not made all the right decisions by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know the parent who does, right? Um, but we believe in fostering an environment where you're safe, and we're going to all help each other, and we're going to take care of each other, and it's okay to dream. It's okay to dream big. And if it works, great. We're going to celebrate that. And if it doesn't, well, guess what? We're just going to learn from that, right? And do better next time. And so I would definitely say that that was the most challenging thing I built so far, or helped to build, is my 3 kiddos. Peyton is 28 now, Quentin is 24, and Aubrey is 18. So they're all doing well and thriving and living their best lives, and so that makes me pretty happy. But even beyond that, we have a lot of nieces and nephews. We are a very tight knit family on both sides, both my side and Justin's side, and so we really work hard to make family a priority, and let everybody know they're always welcome. Um, that's what Justin's grandparent. That's what we've learned that along the way. People have done that for us, and so we always want to do that for other people too. And I think when it starts at home, then you get to not only do it with the people closest to you, but to other people that you meet along the way, and you see the potential in, and you want to help. And so I would say that's what building is about, right? We all build each other. We learn from each other, and that's what makes life pretty darn cool, if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that's true in my personal life. In my professional life, it would be the transportation department in Francis Howell. I was hired to build that department from scratch, and so they had been contracted for a long time, and so I was able to bring the department in house and start from the very beginning, and that was pretty rewarding as well, to see that work. We transport 11,000 kids a day, and so it's kind of a big deal, right? I love it.
Nicely,
Mhm.
nicely said. Rashana Freeman said, "Hi Jennifer, it was so good to meet you several years ago. You are so very special to Destiny."
Oh, it was great to meet you too. I remember coming to visit. It was great. Yeah.
And so, next question: beyond the physical structure, what is the beautiful thing you are most proud of having built in your community or for your guests?
I think I just love the fact that people come here and they're happy. They want to be here. They enjoy the environment. They feel comfortable. We want our seats at the bed and breakfast to be very comfortable and homey. You know, um, we want them to feel like it's safe to come and go as they please. That we're here. Some people, it's fun with the bed and breakfast. Some folks come in and they don't really want to talk to anybody, right? Like they just want to go to the room, they want to do their thing, they're going to eat breakfast next morning, they're going to roll. That's it,
Mhm.
right? And then you have other people who come and they want to hear all about our story, they want to tell me their story. And so it's fun kind of gauging that and giving people the experience that they want, right? Because everybody wants a different experience. And so I think it's super important that as an innkeeper or an owner, that you kind of catch on to their vibe. You don't want to push somebody that doesn't want to talk. You can tell right away, you know, versus people who do. Then you want to engage with them, and you want them to want to come back. We've got lots of repeat customers now. They'll come back each year and want to stay here and bring friends and tell other friends, and um, that's pretty cool. I want that. I want them to feel that
And
way.
like you've had um, so much experience with different personalities and different circumstances because you started out in the Winsfield School District. When did you start? Because I think you knew me before I knew you, and didn't you say it was like elementary school? When did you start?
Yeah, I started at Winsville June of 2003. So yeah, that's when I started with the district, and I got to know you even before you knew I knew you, through just being in meetings and hearing and learning about you, and kind of watching from afar, until we started to finally actually get to know each other. So what grade would you have been in 2003? Can you think back?
I don't know, maybe fifth grade, maybe, I don't know. It
Yeah,
might have been
maybe.
fifth grade. It might have been,
Yeah,
yeah. Fifth grade.
because you were heritage.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I'm thinking, yeah, yeah. I was thinking fourth or fifth grade was
I'm
about
just gonna
right.
go on the
Yeah.
record and say I was a very misunderstood kid. I really was. I was very misunderstood. I was.
I agree.
But
I agree. I agree.
because it was like, because I have a question that roll into in the later on aspect, but we've been kind of talking about it, so you get into that. It's like home life was challenging and a little
Yeah.
difficult, and uh
Yeah.
also just didn't I ain't vibe with them too much, like it was kind of, I'm not saying it was my way or the highway. See, what had happened was it was their
Yeah.
way was a way that
Mm.
was just, it didn't flow with what I needed at the time in life. It meant that when I wanted
Yeah.
something, like it worked better when I did it. If that makes sense. It's not that I wanted it my way, it just
Yeah.
worked better that way. And they needed to learn the mechanism.
Yeah. There was a lot going on in your world back then. That's for sure. There just was. There was a lot going on, and I agree. I saw from an early age, from a very young age, that not everybody understood all the amazingness of Miss Destiny. And so that was something that it was easy for me to see that in you, and I knew way early that you were going to be somebody and do some things, right? We just had to help you get there, right? Because education was important, but it was the biggest priority to you, which that's made it easy.
Oh
That made it
yeah,
easy.
for sure. I think like for me, what stood out the most is like when we officially connected. I think it was when I was in high school, but the connection between my first grade teacher and you, I didn't know you knew my first grade teacher. Miss Kitson. And
Crazy.
connection,
Yeah.
because one thing
Yeah.
I was during the time, because I don't think was Elizabeth. Yeah, I think Elizabeth wasn't in the picture. It was just Drew and Courtney. But I was at the time. I was like third Kitson child. You couldn't tell me any different.
Yeah.
Miss
Yeah.
Kitson was she was
Yeah.
taking care of me just like I was one of her children. And those things you don't forget about is people that um they don't just see you as a little brown skin girl that's been through a lot of challenges and all that stuff. They see you as a child that needs the
Right.
love and attention,
Right.
and they pour into you. And for me, I was
Right.
like, just to know the connection
Yeah.
from there, because I'm not gonna say too much because Miss Kitten's gonna be on next week, and we're gonna talk about a little bit about that. But just to know the connection between you and
Good.
her, and you're knowing one another, I was like, oh, okay, I see. God has a sense of humor, because it's just like the people that connect have the same heart, the same spirit, just the same mindset for people, and it just it's so
Yeah.
mind blowing, and I talk about it a lot to my godmom, because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Well, and I think that was crazy, right? Like, she was so connected to you when you were younger, but I didn't know her then. And then I got more connected to you when you were a little bit older. And she and I were super close friends, but never did we realize that connection, out of all the people that worked in Winsville. I mean, there's 1,000 people
how
that
did
live in that district. And here, she and I, yeah, isn't that
how
crazy?
did y'all connect?
Yeah. I don't even, how did she
Yeah.
and I connect? Um, Gosh, well, we were both administrators. She had become an assistant principal and I was a director. So we were attending administrator meetings together. And then the two of us and our friend Laura, used to be Laura Pendergrass. She's Laura Smith now. She was the principal at Heritage. And so she and Deanna had always worked together. And then the three of us became friends, and just we were talking one day, and your name came up, and she was like, Destiny Smith. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh my God, I know Destiny. So like, that's when we made that connection that we both knew you. You had played a role in both of our lives. And so, well, like you said, what a beautiful, that's like a God thing, right? I mean, come on.
You tell her that
That's pretty
story
crazy.
about the bus. That's it. It seems like you told her the
Oh,
story about the bus.
she knows that story.
I know you love that story.
What I think is interesting, like she didn't take a lot of kids home. You were one of the few kids that she took home. And I don't have any other kid in my career that I am as connected to as you. And so the fact that both of us and you, like, that's such a God thing. It just is.
It's
Yeah,
just
right. Exactly.
it's like
That's
for
exactly
me,
right.
like going through really breaking free from my grandmother, and all of that was so challenging. But having that help from my
Tough.
counselor during the time was a blessing for me because she saw
Mhm.
what no one. I'm not calling, she's not saying nothing to anybody else, but she saw things that other people were not telling me. I'm like, am I crazy? Are people not knowing the stuff that, like, without me seeing it, the stuff that's going on at home is not okay. I feel like I'm
Right.
literally embodying it. I'm showing these behaviors that say things are going on at on home that are not safe. It's not making me stable mentally, emotionally overall.
Right.
But when she gave me the opportunity, and then I ended up
Yeah.
being homeless my junior year was
Mhm.
challenging, but that senior
Mhm.
year made it even more challenging because I know I had put myself in a worse predicament, with doing what I did, and you know,
Mhm.
uh they thought I was crazy. I wasn't. It was just I had to get away. Nobody was listening, but I had to get away, and I had a strategic
Mhm.
plan of getting away from my grandmother at the time. But
Yeah. But the thing that always amazed me so much, Destiny, is that even when were going through all those very difficult times, you were living a life that I'm going to be honest with you, I can't understand. I didn't live it, right? I didn't live it. But what I knew is that you would call every morning and tell me where you were so that I could send a cab to come and get you back to school. And there's a lot of kids in this world that would have never done that. They would have just ditched school and been done with it. But no matter where you were and all the things that were going on, you always let me know so I could get somebody to you so that you could continue to go to school. And that just shows how important education was to you, and that you knew at some point you were going to survive and thrive. You were going to get past the deck of cards that you had been dealt at that moment. And that was just a perseverance and a commitment, and a passion for life and doing better that I saw in you, that no matter where you were, I was going to send somebody to come get you and get you to school, because that's what we needed to do. We needed to get you through school. I knew you needed to graduate to have a chance, and you knew you needed to graduate to have a chance, right? And there was some tough days. I wasn't sure we were going to get there together. I'm going to be honest. Like, whew. But we did. We got you there, right?
yeah, because some days I was like, "This ain't. I'm done. This is not happening." Other time, I'm like, "You know what? I got this." But it was hard when you're not exposed to like consistent love and care. Like if it wasn't for Miss Kitson pouring
Right.
into me like she did when I was younger, I would
Mhm.
not know a sense of just love and care and just have the heart that I have because somebody told me like recently like
Yeah.
you they don't come through the things you come through and have the heart that you have and the kindness that you have. And I'm like, I met a Miss
Yeah.
Kitson, I met a Miss Tina, a Miss Simpson, I met all these people that literally poured into me and they didn't stop pouring into me. They were just like, hey, like I feel drawn to help this young lady. But one thing that you all have in common is that your
Mhm.
faith in God. I remember um when I was in the homeless shelters and different things, and I had transitioned into that one, you know, like such circumstance. And you were like, you know what? I don't know what went through your mind, whatever you were feeling, you were like, I just want Destiny to come spend the weekend with me. And I used to come and spend the weekend with you.
Mhm.
And it was like, it was,
Yeah. Went to football games and all the stuff, right? All the kid stuff that I was doing back then. You got to tag
oh
along with
yeah,
us.
like that experience was mind blowing for me because I had never experienced something like that. I'm like, okay, this person wants me to come spend the weekend with them. And, like I wasn't treated any different. I was, look, At the time, I was like, what, the fourth Simpson kid at the time? That's how I felt. I wasn't treated any different. When the family came
Right.
over, they treated me human. I met your mother at the time. And I think it was,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I wasn't treated any different. When you all went to the mall, I was with you all. When they ate, I ate. When we went bowling that one time and all of that. Like that experience
Yeah.
helped me realize like someone sees me, but also I'm not being treated like what I'm dealing with. And that was big for me because people tend
Right.
to hear what you're going through and they treat you like that, or else they try to be fragile with you. But you just treated me like a normal human being. And that meant a lot. And even meant a lot too, because I'm just like, okay, well, Miss Simpson has me around Aubrey and Quentin and Peyton and all that. I'm like, that's trust.
Yeah.
And that meant a lot to me because like
Yeah.
I was like, this is a praying woman. I remember
Good.
that Sunday we went to church. And I remember meeting the minister.
Yeah.
Was it your pastor at the time? I think it was the pastor. And
Okay. Yeah.
he said that he had
Yeah. Yeah. Probably.
to
Yeah.
you about me and he wanted to bless me. He had blessed me with a laptop for school because he was telling you, he was, I don't know what the spiritual connection, whatever that was, but I just know that that was a God ordained circumstance at that time. And it was a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he is a good friend. He's a lay person in the church, good friend of ours. Him and his wife have two boys, and we've all raised our boys together. And those are some of Peyton's very best friends, and they're some of our very best friends. And he and I were just talking one day, and he owns a company here in Winsville, and was talking about that he was looking for a way to help a student and wondered if I knew of anybody that needed some help. And I'm like, oh, I know exactly. Somebody said she's about to go to college and she really needs a laptop. All kids need a laptop when they go to college. And and so he wanted to meet you, right? And so you got to meet him, Kurt Daniels, and then he bought you the laptop. Yeah, yeah, which yeah, I mean, it's just about making connections, right? Like, isn't that what we do? Is we see somebody who has something that they can offer and somebody who needs it, and we make those connections. And I mean, that's what God put us on this earth to do, if you ask me, right? Like that's what that's how we're good Christians, that's why we're his soldiers. This isn't my world, it's his, so like getting to make those connections was really important to me. For you, you know what I mean? I knew that you needed that, and Kurt had it to give. And so that was awesome. That was great. Yeah. I loved when you came and hung out with our family. My kids all knew you. They knew who you were. And whether you were at our house or you and I were on the phone, they were listening. They knew what was going on. And so, yeah, you were just a part of our crew at that point, right? Like that's how it
Yeah, I
goes.
appreciate.
If you're brave enough to come hang out at the Simpsons, then we're going to help you out.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Like I hadn't seen Aubrey in so long, and when I saw her a couple years ago, I didn't think she was going to remember me. She's like, "I know who you are." And I was like, "Oh, okay," because I knew she was so little and she was
Yeah.
spoiled. I mean, it sounds like she still is.
Yeah.
She's the only
Yes.
girl though. So
Her brothers say that too. They say she's the baby. She gets everything she wants. I'm like, well, maybe
I knew
sometimes.
back then she was telling on her brothers, and I know what was she told on Quentin about something, and you were like, "Leave her alone."
Oh,
She stayed telling on Quentin, but Quentin, he was the vocal. I don't know if he's still vocal, but he was very vocal back then.
oh, he is. Oh, yeah, he's still vocal. Yeah, yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Are you kidding? That child lives in New York City. He lives in Brooklyn. He's vocal. You betcha.
yeah, sound about right. It was just a blessing with that whole entire experience. And again, like the standout to me for sure was just the God in the whole situation and circumstance, like taking me to church, taking me around your family, not treating me any different. And just like so many times in my story throughout, my journey to becoming the person I am today, a lot of people they tend to see things as, oh, okay, well, people that are helping and assisting you, they tend to look like you. And I'm just like, yeah, throughout my journey, people didn't look like me. And when I say they didn't look like me, they were not African American, and it wouldn't matter color. but I was
Yeah.
rejected a lot. And I sat in a lot of rejection
Yeah.
as a in elementary school, middle school, and high school. And it felt, no, it felt so
Yeah.
inclusive to not be seen as a color, to not see anybody as a color, but to recognize that somebody was willing to give me, the love and the care that I needed, and to be able to pour into
Yeah.
me. Because there was conversations we had. Sometimes we sit on the phone, I think for like hours. Sometimes it was an hour to 2 hours, and I'm just pouring out to you some of the things that I'm dealing with in them different shelters. I'm homeless in St. Charles, in
Yeah.
St. Louis, and then I ended up on
Yeah.
St. Louis Avenue,
Yeah.
at the Covenant House, and
Yeah.
it was just like, I know each
Yeah.
time you were just like, all right, Dest, and I know at times, like, just hearing your voice, you were concerned because this is a scary circumstance to be in, being that you saw me in this one predicament where I was in the school district, but I'm
Yeah.
transitioned from the school district to another place,
Mhm.
and being able to have to go back and forth to that and be
Mhm.
homeless and having to learn survival skills that I
Mhm.
didn't even know. I'm just a back then, small town
Yeah.
country girl. I didn't know. I didn't know nothing. But
Yeah. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. And Destiny, you were dealing with challenges that I had never experienced before, or even been as close to, like to see some of the things that you were going through. And we would talk, and I'd be like, "All right, what's going on? Where are you? What's happening?" And you would share some of the challenges and the difficult things that you were trying to face, and um, that was eye opening to me as well, to know that obviously I live a pretty privileged life. I'm not going to lie, I do. And I didn't necessarily even realize how privileged I was. But by seeing you go through the things that you were going through and helping you problem solve each problem as they came, even though I'd never lived through that kind of problem before, right? But you and I together, we were going to find solutions, like no matter what, no matter where you were, no matter what kind of crazy was going on in the background. It was about, okay, let's figure out what we got to do. What do we need to do to get you to whatever's next, right? Like, how can I help you get to whatever's next? And that helped look different ways at different times, right? Like, it was one thing when you were in high school and at school, and I was, going to meetings with you and making sure that we were going to get you to graduate. That was one set of circumstances in life, right? But then once you left, you went to Park, and you were in Kansas City, and there were a whole new set of challenges and circumstances and
yeah,
opportunities, right? And things that I never thought of before, and so it was eye opening to me, and I always appreciated that you let me be a part of your journey, because it was your life, but I learned from it too, and I think that that's part of how we all get better in this world, is being willing to listen and be real, right? And learn and see what you were going through and try to help you, and you know, it just mattered. It mattered, it just mattered, So I love that you let me be a part of your journey, because you could have shut me out on a whole bunch of ways. There's a lot of days when you could have been like, ah, yeah, I'm done with you, lady. You're crazy, and I don't want to be a part of your nutty world anymore. You could have done that easy, and you didn't. You always let me kind of have a back seat to your world and be a part of it. And it's engaging. And I told you from a long, long time ago, I knew there was something in you. You were going to be special, right? You were always special, and you were going to do special things. And I just love seeing that you're doing those things now. It just makes my heart
thank
super
you.
happy.
I think, like, what stood out to me, because I'm trying to avoid, because it's gonna make me emotional. I'm gonna cry, you guys. But
I know. I'm trying not to cry over here. You see me? I'm choking it
because
back, right?
they weren't gonna let me walk the stage. And that was a fight.
They were.
I had fought
It wasn't.
so much through the tumultuous circumstances at home, and just leaving that. You know how challenging it is to know that you're leaving a place that's not good for you, exploring a world that you were never taught about. You weren't taught how to clean your own, cook,
No.
clean, a bank account, job, none of that.
No.
And I'm out here
Yeah.
16, just turned 17, homeless, and choosing that over, choosing homelessness over those circumstances, because I knew that the devil was tempting my mind to do things that I could not come back from.
Mhm.
And knowing that the school
Yeah.
district, I made mistakes. They didn't want me to walk. It broke me. And I'm telling you, the devil was attacking me, you all, just from the moment becoming homeless, having to balance the school that I was at, having to balance the assignments, the things that were going on, the circumstances. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot. Shouldn't have had been
Yeah. It was.
dealing with the things I was dealing with, but I had to take on adulthood at responsibilities when I was a toddler. So it's just like it was nothing new to me. But having to
Yeah.
walk that stage.
But you're right. There were people. I just think about that your last year, your senior year in school, right? And you just those teachers, like there were so many kids that were making life really hard for you. They were there for very different reasons than you, right? And those teachers did not make it easy. And then when we got almost to the end, it was almost time, and then things were getting worse. And I remember talking to the district and saying, she's done enough. Let her complete. She's completed everything she needs to complete. Let's let her finish. And then they weren't going to let you walk. And I said, oh yes, we're letting her walk. This girl had busted her butt to get to this point and gone through things that most of us in Winsville will never understand. And we're letting this girl walk. And you did. And I got to be there to see you walk. And that was amazing, right? Like I was so excited to get to be at that graduation and watch you walk across. And I don't know if anyone else in that arena really understood what all you had been through to get there, but and I'm not going to say I understood, but like I said, I at least got to be there with you. And I knew that two things that were so inspiring to me, Destiny. One, you always called me and told me where you were so I could get you to school, and you always went to church, and you always made church a priority. And you never went down a lot of the paths that you could have gone down, right? Things could have gone way wrong at a lot of junctions right there. And you didn't take those terrible paths. You stayed on the path that kept you in tune with God, and plugged in with God, and plugged in with education. And you kept fighting to find the right people. And there were a lot of wrong people that
It was
came into your life. There were a
a
lot of
lot of
wrong people. Yeah. We won't go back to, right. We won't go back through all that, but there were a lot of wrong people. And you had the maturity and the wisdom and the know-how somehow. I don't know how. You were so young. But you knew how to get yourself out of those situations. And it was risky, right? You left some of those, you didn't know where you were going next, but you found the
I don't.
next place.
I just got to say, what God, because I'm going back to the fact that just like a graduation part and that challenge, and just like I think you being there was everything, because my grandmother waited an hours before I was supposed to be at my graduation to tell me she wasn't coming, and that broke me, because I wanted a part of that drive was to prove to her that I can do this. Like I'm not going to be what you're telling me that I'm going to be. Like I got this, and to know
Right.
that like you got the closest seat, the walking up on the stage, and you were right there. And I remember I was just walking, and then I
Yeah.
started to cry. You were just like, "It's okay, that's you doing it. You're doing it." And I was just like,
You can do
I
that.
can't believe this. Like
Yeah.
I'm walking stage. Like
Yeah.
they're not taking this from me. And she didn't let them take that from
Nope.
me.
Nope.
And if they took that from me, that would have crushed me bad. And I wouldn't be the person I am today. I remember they were throwing signs at me.
No. I cried as much at your graduation as I did my own kid's graduation. I'm a crier. So I was like, I remember as soon as I saw you, I was like, oh, I got to hold this together because I need her to hold it together, right? But I was not holding it together. I was so happy for
Like,
you,
even with the fees they try to throw at me, I'm telling you how the enemy was working hard. They threw fees at me about books and all this. And I told you, and you were just like, you know what? I remember you were so upset because I was talking. I was just like, now I have another issue. And you were like, I'm going to call you right back, Des. And next time you called me back, you were like, they were taken care of. You were like, there should be nothing else they should be throwing your way. You are walking that stage. And when I tell you,
But they kept trying, right? Like, people kept trying. I remember that was, gosh, and I don't remember much in life. I have a terrible memory, but I do remember those times. And it was like every time we talked, there was something else that was going to prevent you from getting. And there was some teacher, I don't remember her name, but somebody at school that you two were really just button heads. And I knew we were on borrowed time. I like, we got to get Destiny away from this lady. She's going to kill her. You know, I'm like, and I'm not going to let this lady sabotage this. Like, you had worked so hard to get to where you were that I was not going to let anybody or some goofy fees or, all the things that kept coming up. I'm like, no, this is a different situation. We have to take care of these things and get her across that stage. And so, there were other people that helped us, right? Because I luckily, by working for the district, knew who to get a hold of to get done what needed to be done. Right. And so, once people understood what was going on, then they were willing to help. But again, see, that's just about connections, right? It's just about putting the right people in the right place. And luckily, God did that for both of us, right? Put us in the right places to help each other. And watching you walk across that stage was one of the greatest joys. It really, truly was. It truly was, because nobody earned it more than you. You did.
the moment, I talk
Yep.
about that moment at different times. My godmom and just with people, because I'm just like, there would be no Miss Kitson without Destiny. There would be no Destiny without a Miss Kitson. There would be no Destiny without a Miss Simpson. Like, it would not be this person, because I needed what you were pouring into me at the time, because no one was pouring into me. They just saw me as,
Yeah.
she has issues, she has problems, she's an issue, she's not gonna do anything in life.
Yeah.
She just leave her alone, and that's just it. But you saw different, and because you saw different, that activated the motivation in me to want to continue on and get my education. And you used to always tell me, you're very
Yeah.
intelligent, and I'm like, thank you. Because one thing,
Oh, yeah.
the
Oh, I
one thing
knew
the
you were
district
smart.
couldn't say that Destiny was dumb. They couldn't. No, they couldn't say I didn't do my
No,
homework.
no, that had nothing to do with it. You were always smart. Nobody got through the things. Nobody can get through the things that you got through and not be smart. You were very smart. You have always been very smart, and that has helped a lot, but it's just, I think one of the problems so oftentimes is people judge a person by what they see on the outside, right? Like, oh, she's acting out. Oh, she's this, she's that, whatever. Like, they let that define the person. What did I always tell you? These things don't define you, right? Like, I knew that is not who Destiny was. That little girl faking a seizure in the back of the bus. I knew that's not who Destiny was, right? That was Destiny. That was Destiny wanting some attention. I knew that, but I knew that was not who Destiny was. Those were things that were happening, but they were not who you were. And so, but I think that's true for all of us in life. Like, you got to peel away the curtains sometimes, right? You got to peel away the stuff that's on the outside to find out who that person really is on the inside. And that's when we all win in life, is when we're willing to do that, right? That's how we help each other to grow and learn and see what we're really made of, when we're willing to do
I had
that.
no idea. The way I had never been exposed, the only type of love, or just love in general, I've ever been exposed to was from Miss Kitson. In the craving that I had
Mhm.
as a young person, in elementary school and middle school and high school, of just wanting to be loved, but not love where I'm going to go search for it, end up pregnant as a teen, but love like, I just want to belong. I just want to have a sense of normalcy. And just like, no one
Right.
really giving that to me, and sitting in rejection, and then meeting you, and you're just like,
Mhm.
yeah, you're laughing with me and not at me, but a lot of times you were laughing at me. Because one thing I was gonna do is, we're gonna laugh, because I'm gonna laugh through this stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. We had to, right? Otherwise, we're going to do cry all the time. We can't cry all the time. We might as well laugh at some of
yeah,
it, right? Like, some of the stuff you call, I'd be like, oh my goodness, girl, what are you talking about, right? And then you would tell me more, and we'd figure it out, and we just keep on
and
going.
it was up
But
from
yeah,
there. After Park, yes,
yeah,
I was homeless up here in Kansas City and stuff. And then after that, I got stable. And it wasn't until like 6 years ago I really started investing in my healing in who, God has called me to be. And, I mean, 6 years later, and I mean, I've got my Bachelor of Arts degree in criminal justice with a minor in psychology. I'm working on my Master of Science in cyber psychology. I'm either aiming at law
Yeah.
school or else getting my PhD in behavioral sciences, emphasis in neuropsychology. Who knows? I mean, I'm doing my program next year.
Yeah.
I got the opportunity to go to DC in
Yeah.
a elite academic program, and I've been places. I done traveled places. I've met people. I done met people at the Pentagon. I can call them right now, and at the White House, all of that. I've made connections with people. And those are genuine connections that don't know what
Right.
I've gone through, but they see me as a,
Yeah.
as a loving and
Yeah.
caring, genuine person. And that means everything to me. But I would say, like, being a 32-year-old woman, and having to go through all of that, and to say my biological family still don't talk to me. I still don't have conversations with them, but they still don't check for me. But I've worked on my relationship with my grandmother. We talk sometimes. I did lose my birth father
Yeah.
in uh, December of
You did.
2022, and that was hard.
I
That was
didn't
hard
realize that. Sorry. I didn't know
because
that.
I know that my
Yeah.
were
No, I
not
didn't know.
a part of my life. It was just my grandmother, so. And I share with you
Yeah.
that my birth mother
Yeah.
just, she wasn't where she was mentally. She didn't want children. And my birth father, he was doing what he was doing. He was a drug
Yeah.
dealer, in St. Louis, stuff like that. So I didn't have people that, even
Right.
with you, that were calling me and texting me and seeing if I was okay. I just had a Miss Simpson
Yeah.
phone number. That's all I did. That's why I was calling you. I'm like, hey, Miss Simpson. That's all, because that's all I had. So that connection was
Yeah.
everything. But fast forward up until
Yeah.
now, like, I had people in my life, and I still do struggle, like I did when I was younger, with allowing people close to me, um, and
Mhm.
in dealing with certain things when it comes to the closeness with people. But I'm working through that, and that's what God has me
Yeah.
this season.
Are you good?
But
Well, I'm seeing these names on the side of the screen, and I know those are people that are in your world that you are connecting with, and that you do let help you, right? And that I'm sure you help them too, right? Because it's like I said, it's never a one-way street. We all learn from each other. So, the fact that you have, these ladies in your life that help you and that you help, just proves that you're learning those connections, right? You've always been good at that.
I
You've
have
always
been
been
good
good
at
at that. So I love that
I
you're like,
have, but I'm gonna say we not gonna about to start getting them started because they might be in these comments, and because you already start talking about that seat in the back of the bus. They got stories too. We not about to start. Nobody get on here and start trading stories. I draw the line.
we can have some real fun then, right? Then we're gonna have some real fun.
Look, hopefully, no, Miss Kitson is worse. I'm gonna say it. I don't know if she watched, but she probably worse as far as like just saying stuff, and I just be like, I said in the beginning of the podcast, we're not gonna talk about that. You was like, you know what? Let me slow in while she crying. I don't know. She might be just as worse because we were having a conversation on the phone, and she was telling me about how when I was young, when I was in first grade, I had told her, I had asked her a question about her hair. I was like, "Why your hair look like or something like that?" And she
Oh,
was like, "I need to get my highlights touched up." Because I was always asking questions when I was young. So next week you get to hear about the 6-year-old Destiny that was very interesting, and was it very curious, asked a lot of questions. But,
yeah. That was calling her out, the 6-year-old that was calling her out.
yeah,
Well, we always knew we could rely on you for that, Dust. You were always going to be honest, brutally honest sometimes, but you were always honest. That's the thing. You know what I mean? I always felt like if I asked you a question, you were at least going to tell me some version of the truth, or at least your version of the truth, right? And then we would explore that. We would explore that and get to the real root of the issue.
I mean, yeah, because like, I mean, well, we gonna fully have a conversation because fully that means I have to come to full acceptance about what's really going on. Oh no, you know what? We're not gonna talk about the stories. We not. but
See, she's got
but
stories
I would say
too.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was to say that we'll have to do this another a different time when we can all have stories. I'll have to hear all those stories. I would love that. Would make me happy.
None.
We're not gonna do that. Okay. All right. See, brutally honest, she agreed. See, these people know you. They know you just like I know
I
you.
mean, I'm gonna share some stuff. I'm gonna have some conversations about stuff. I mean, you asked me, I'm gonna tell you, but um, I'm
I
just
know. I always love that part. I always love that.
I'm just a little, but I'm learning to be in the place where accepting and love and understanding, because it's been a fight um with that journey. Like I think it's the story of, is it not the Joseph, what is that, the story where the person in the Bible went through the journey on their own. It's not Joseph. What is that? Somebody help me with that. Is it Joseph?
Ooh, I'm not a good one.
Somebody drop it in.
I'm not.
But I
I
always
don't
felt
know.
like that was mine, but I always knew that I had a message as well, even if it is Joseph, like that I was to share with the world, regardless. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
just being able to just embrace the fact that what I had gone through, I went through it, but it never would
Mhm.
change the circumstances that, no matter what I did, no matter how good, the degrees I get, the accolades I get, the speaking engagements I
Mhm.
get, the new books that I write, whatever it may be, that, I'm not gonna have a relationship with my biological family. I mean, that's okay. And I had to be okay with
Yeah.
that. Because one thing I
It
could
is.
say about you was,
Yeah.
she said, "What Bible you talking about, Ella?" I'm talking about a story where God sent the person on a journey, his whole entire life story. It was Jeremiah. Thank you, Miss Freeman. I think the
There we go.
Jeremiah
Oh,
family,
good.
yes, because it's just like it's been a journey. It has been a
Yeah.
lonely journey, but my chosen family,
Yeah.
that like God sent me. That I know if you remember me telling you about the scripture that God gave me, that saved my life, which was John 4:24. God is spirit, and that they that believe in God must believe in God and spirit and in truth. I
Amen.
think
I
I
agree.
don't know if I ever shared that with
I
you,
think
but that was the scripture that made me really stand on the fact that what God was going to give me, that He was going to give me the desires of my heart.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think I remember being with you and getting through those decisions when you knew that there were people in your life that were not good for you. And even though they were close loved ones, right? They were close family members, but you recognized that they were causing more harm than good. And that for you to really get to where you wanted to be in life, you had to close some of those doors, right? And I know that was really hard for you. That had to be so hard for you. And I watched that, but you were so wise in your choices when it came to knowing who was in your life for the right reasons, right? Like that's something you've been very insightful about, even when you knew it was tough. Like I remember you FaceTiming me one time from I think it was your mom's house down in St. Louis. And it was not a safe scene. It was not a good place for a kiddo to be, right? But you knew that, and you FaceTime just so that I could even see what it was like, right? And you knew that that was not the life that you wanted, but you could have made different choices that day and lots of other days, right? But you followed God's way and God's will, and you made those good choices. And none of us are perfect. I'm not saying that we were. We didn't always make the right choices, but you sure made a lot of really good ones, right? That have made you who you are today, and that's just so inspiring to me and Miss Kitson and anybody else who knows you. Obviously, these ladies know too, right? Uh, that God shines through you and puts you in places that maybe other people can't be. You can understand things that some of us can't, but that allows you to help people in different ways too. And I've always known that you would help people because you have that in your heart, right? And that's amazing. That's not a gift to be taken lightly, right? It's not. It's a huge gift, and it's one that you share well with all of us who know you. So that's way
I've
cool.
been I've
That's the
been trying
destiny I
so
know.
hard to hold back tears this whole time. It's like a full circle moment, because the struggle that you had to see me walk through, And the blessing that you see me standing, sitting in, and walking in now, that's
Oh,
but God.
amazing. That's got to work, right?
Because I
That's
tell
got
people
to
all the
work.
time, I'm like,
Yeah.
Simpson this, Miss
Because I,
Simpson that. And it was a Miss Simpson. Look, Miss Simpson used to get on the phone with me soon as somebody messed with me too. Soon if somebody on a buzz, if it was a circumstance and it was something in your hands that you can handle, oh, Miss Simpson was handling it.
we're taking care of it. We're taking care of it.
He was.
And I mean, I remember sometimes, Destiny, where I could see that you were starting to go down some different paths. And I remember having to get real with you a couple times and being like, we're not doing this. Come on, get back on track. You know where you need to be. You know what you need to do. And I think that was hard, especially those early college years. That was a whole new environment for you, a whole different world. You were in Kansas City all on your own. That was far away. You know what I mean? And I remember some tough conversations, um, but I felt like you only called me because you wanted to hear it,
Yeah.
right? Even though maybe you didn't want to hear it, you knew you needed to hear it, right? And so you and I could always be pretty real with each other, and that's one of the things I've always loved about you so much is that we can be real. And yes, you're honest, but you also have goals, and you knew how you were going to get there, and somehow, some way, you were going to overcome those goals and get to where you are. And look at you now. You're just amazing. So I love it.
Oh,
Oh, I lost you. Oh, there you are. Yeah.
yeah. Wow. And I have my days sometimes where I have to reflect back on the different things that I've gone through, and God humbles me. He's just like, hey, hold on, pace yourself. You had to look what you had to overcome. And there's people that I meet that tell me like I don't look like what I've gone through when I'm glad to tell my testimony, and I don't tell everything. I just tell the surface, like, look, God brought me through this, and that. But, and there's people I
Yeah.
meet, and they're just
Sure.
like, I'll just be speaking and having, like, just going in, just speaking very intellectually and all of that. And they're just like intimidated by me and they feel some type of way about me. And they're just like, who does she think she is? First off, I'm someone that had to walk through so much. I had to walk through the fire, the
Yeah.
lava, all of that stuff, the rejection, the hurt, the pain, the things that I didn't
Yeah.
understand. I had to teach
You did.
myself how to get a bank account, how to
Mhm.
get a job, all of those things that I was not taught because I was taught to be dependable on this individual that was not healthy for me. And I'm like, I'm learning these different things. And I'm
Right.
like, people see me now and they're just like, who she thinks she is? And I'm like, I'm exactly who I think I am. Because what are you talking about? I had to walk through some stuff. Exactly who I am. I'm going to stand here
Right.
and I'm going to own the room, the space that I'm in right now. Because this space, I worked hard to own this space. And
You
the woman
absolutely
that
have.
I
Yeah.
am.
You deserve, yeah. You deserve to own that space. You do. You've done so much and worked so much. And I watched people try to put labels on you that you just would not accept. You're like, that is not who I am, regardless of whether you think that's who I am, that's not who I am. And watching you overcome those labels and those boxes that people try to put you in, right? Like they did. They tried to put you in boxes. You can do this, you can only do this, you can only do that. And you were like, nope, I'm doing way more. I'm going to be somebody more. I am somebody more. And you just best watch that, right? Get out of the way because destiny is going to be destiny. And that's brought you where you are today. And that's you got to let everyone see that about you. I understand you don't have to tell everybody your whole world. I get that, right? Because it's not all their business. It's just not. But there is something to be said for being somewhat vulnerable and letting people see that you hurt too, right? Because I know you're good at that. You can help inspire people because of what you've lived through and what you've done and where you're going. Because this story isn't finished. This story is not finished at 32. Did you tell me you're
Yeah.
32? No, no, no. I don't want to hear that. That's crazy. Anyway, you're not finished at 32. You still have a long way to go. And if you think there's not days where all of us don't have to step back and check some reality, happens to all of us, right? There's not anybody that success exceeds that. We all have to slow our roll every now and then, and turn it back over to God and say, "Whoa, I might be at a spot where I need a little help." Right?
I'm like,
Yeah. So it's true
and,
for
and
us.
and it's like for me, like we hadn't talked in like years, and I had called you recently because I was like, I had been telling myself, you gotta get in, talk to her, because it's just like I want to anybody that you have in your, like, the people that are watching you have in your life that have been blessings. Don't lose contact with them, because I had got so in my mind about handling things, getting things together, like moving from Missouri to Atlanta. Going from Wentzville, Missouri, or St. Louis, Missouri to Kansas City. That's a couple hours. I took and packed up and moved to Atlanta,
Right.
and literally I
That's
I
a lot.
narrowed it. I focused. I was so focused to get my degree. I was not playing. I was getting that degree, and I graduated summa cum laude. I had so many lanyards, and my stole was full of different honors and all of that, because I was determined. Because one thing I am not is not a dumb person, but I wanted to show the hard work that I had
No,
on me. Like that right there, that
good.
even walking that stage was big. Having my master's and walking that stage is gonna be big. And after I get my master's, I'm gonna be an adjunct professor somewhere teaching something, because hey, we be talking
Yeah,
something.
good.
But I have goals, and it's because of people like you that I'm able to go and lean on. And it's that family dynamics, like I can go around the Simpsons, the Kitsons, and it's family, family. And I and I
Yeah. You know,
I, I
you're always
vibe with
welcome.
that. I love that. Oh yeah, in the Burkhart Cody's. Sorry, Miss Tina, but this because you guys are family, and that's the environment, the things that have opened up for me. And I'm
Yeah.
blessed, and I'm blessed for the people that are in my life now. Because one thing I asked God for, and I keep reiterating this. I asked Him when I was in my grandmother's house, and I told you, um deeply, how explicit and crazy it was living with my grandmother, and how she subjected me to that room and the things that happened in that room.
Right.
And in that
Right.
room was when I met God, and when He spoke to me, John 4:24.
Yeah.
And that was a day where I hadn't ate. I don't think I was starving. And God had spoke that to me, because at that time I was about to take my life. I was. And when God
Mm.
spoke to me, because I had got a Bible from one of the bus aides, when I had, you had decided you want to transition me to the bus. And she had told me that God, had told her to give me a Bible. And she got me a Bible with my name on it. And I remember I had opened up that Bible. I don't really talk about this story, which is crazy. And I opened up the Bible, and I remember I was just in
Yeah.
tears, not close. And I was like, this is it. God, I don't see nothing happening.
Mm.
And I remember hearing His voice, clear as day, hearing His voice. He told me, open the Bible. And I opened it. And He told me to go to John 4:24. Right enough to God. He told me to go to that scripture. And I'm telling you, it's the only scripture that I remember word for word. Which I'm gonna learn the other ones, y'all. Don't get on me. But that's the one I learned before. Because at that moment, when I heard God, He told me to get up after that, because I was in tears. Because I couldn't believe that He saw me as worthy enough to speak to me. And when I got up, I went and I asked my grandmother. I said, He told me, He said, go ask her for something to eat. I said, she gonna tell me no. He said, go ask her for something to eat. The mightiness in his voice. I remember I opened up the door because I couldn't have the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she'd get upset at me for that. Um, and I went to her and I asked her to eat. And she talked to me a little crazy, like sad things to me. She said, I don't care what you go eat. And I remember I pigged out. I pigged out till I choked. I was eating so fast that I choked, literally choked. They had to give me the Heimlich maneuver. Um, but it was
Goodness.
just a blessing just to be able to know that God met me in my darkest time at that moment. And then the second moment was when the cardiac counselor at the time had told me that I know what's going on. You let me know when you're ready to leave. You ain't got to tell me details. I've already put my investigation in. In that day when I was about to make a decision that was going to change their lives and my life, and God told me, call her. And I snuck out and I called her, and she came and got me. Whole life change. Whole life change. And then that it's in me
Yeah.
hearing myself now, and even the event I have tomorrow where I'll be speaking for at an event where the basketball player sister Dwayne Wade, sister is throwing an event in Kansas City tomorrow, and I will be one of the speakers and a panelist. Yes, to God be the glory. It's coming full
That's
circle, you all, to tell my story and to share with over 200 girls about how to overcome.
yeah,
And in that, I'm
yeah,
able to see God manifesting, you know, different things and letting me know, like, hey, you can't just sit on this. The story is still continuing, but you cannot sit on the things you've been through. Some young
right.
person needs to experience a destiny because of what a Miss Simpson poured into me, and a Miss Kitson and all of you all, because I, with the gift y'all gave me, I gotta give it back. I gotta meet a destiny.
That's right. We
I
do.
gotta meet a destiny.
Yeah,
So
that's
it,
right.
it
And you will. You are. You
it's,
will. Yeah. And I love that. That's so exciting. And so I just can't tell you how happy I am to see you doing well. Like really, it's just amazing. And I know that you're going to help all kinds of people in your life because you already have. You already have. And I know that that's going to continue. And I'm very honored to get to be a part of that. As small a part as I've had, I'm still honored to get to be a part of your story, Dest, and you've always been a part of mine. So um, that's got to work, And I thank you. Yeah, I thank you because you've helped me to be the person I am too. It goes both ways, So, and my kids, it's good for us all to know each other and learn from each
I
other.
want to.
So, I can't wait till your speaking engagement.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I good luck tomorrow. I think that's awesome. I'm so excited that you get to do that. What an amazing opportunity. That's great.
I want to share this though, but I wonder if your kids know. Did they do they know how awesome of a mom they had? Did they know the blessing that you were to me at the time? I know being young, they probably didn't comprehend, like, who is this? But are did you ever tell them, just to be able to help them understand who I was and how you were a blessing to me?
Um, I probably framed it different than that. You know what I mean? Just that I always made sure that they knew that not everybody had as many opportunities. They weren't as lucky as us, and that you were somebody who needed help, and we were going to always help you. And that's important that we all do that. That we all help each other and recognize that. And it's funny, we have a bed and breakfast now, but we've always had people live with us our whole life. We've always, since Gus and I have been together, we've had people living with us with all kinds of different family members or our friends who are going through tough times. And God has always blessed us in being able to help people. And so my kids know that's what you do. You help people. When people need help, you help them. And, yeah, they knew that you were somebody that I really cared about and that, helped get through. We wanted to make sure you got through school and beyond. And so I think that's just kind of part of life to them. It's not, I don't know. It's
I'm
just
gonna
what
have
we
to
do,
bring all my new
So
my
I hope
support team, like from when I was younger. I'm gonna have to bring the people together, all y'all together, and we have to have an event. Like, I don't know, like, you got people in Kansas
there you go.
City, so I mean, you always come up here, but and plus you're a
Yeah.
Chiefs fan, so I know you always up here anyway.
Yeah.
You don't be saying nothing, but teach his own. But I know it's just
Yeah.
a come and go, but still you can say something because I'm in Kansas City. But
All right.
other than
I know. We got to
I
catch
gotta
up,
bring
right?
you all
Got
together
to catch
for
up.
sure, because them stories definitely need to happen when the time is right, because I'm still a little sensitive about them. A little embarrassed. But
Okay.
still,
All right. Well, we're going to follow your lead. Yeah. We'll follow your lead. You let us know when, and we'll all get together and
for
share
sure,
stories.
because it's but it's still continuing on. Like, I'm so on fire. I'm so on fire for what God has for me and what he has me to do in the calling, in the purpose, that this right here, y'all haven't seen nothing yet. Y'all have not seen nothing yet. I'm coming for everything
I
that
believe.
God has for me. And that means the speaking engagements, the books,
Yeah.
the whatever it is happening. It's happening. Because I'm
Yeah.
seeing that God has not forgotten about me. He has not. He continues to lets me know that.
Right.
So I'm grateful for that. I really am. And
Yeah.
I feel like this episode.
Well, keep me informed because I want to keep seeing, right? I want to keep seeing all the amazing things you do. So Don't stop calling. We'll keep talking to each other. I
Oh,
still want to see
of
it.
course.
So.
I'm gonna keep going until one of my favorite movies is Pursuit of Happiness, and when he got that story, I'm gonna keep going, y'all, till y'all see my life story on the big screen. It's happening. It's gonna happen for me. I'm gonna keep going. If you know Kate Hudson gonna play you. I always tell you that you got Kate Hudson.
Great.
She gonna play you.
Oh,
It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. So I'm gonna keep going, but I wasn't expecting this podcast episode to go this way because I was like, let me make this about Miss Simpson, not about me. But I know just like it went that route, and I'm just beyond grateful. Everybody, y'all have to go and support her bed and breakfast in Defiance. What's it called again?
The Mary House Inn. Yeah, come and stay with us. The Mary House Inn.
Yes, let me drop that into the chat. And what's the you said Mary, Mary house?
Merry. Oh, Mary, like Merry Christmas. Merry. MaryHouseIn.com.
Okay, gotcha. And then I'm gonna put the Mary. Okay. House.com. MERRHOUSEINN.com.
Correct. Yep.
I just put it up there. Everybody go and support her. And I just want to say again, this podcast episode went totally different than I expected. I cried. I ain't boo-hoo and cry as much as I did with Miss Tina on here. I hadn't seen her since I was 6. That was crazy. But I'm probably gonna cry next week with Miss Kitson. So be prepared, Miss Kitson. And she sound like she a crier too. So we're gonna be some criers.
Well, we'll be all there together.
I thank you so much for just being a guest. Before we wrap up, because I know Mr. Simpson hungry and it's probably dinner time, so I don't want to intrude into that time. Is there anything we did not address, or is something you want to share to the listeners and the viewers before we wrap up?
Just take care of each other. All of us. Just keep taking care of each other, and let your light shine. Never underestimate people, right? Because you just know till you get close to see what's really in their heart. And you have so much in your heart to give. And I've always loved that about you. And I can't wait to continue to see the amazing things you do in your life, Destiny. It's been a gift and an honor to me. So I wish you nothing but the best. And that's always been true. So keep doing it. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you. And with that being said, that was such an insightful conversation about the true meaning of creation and commitment. My huge thanks again to Miss Jennifer Simpson for sharing her journey, the grace in her hands. I hope her story inspires you to look at your own endeavors and not just the task, as a piece of beautiful building. Before you start building your next great thing, please take a moment to like and subscribe to Persperity Podcast on YouTube. And remember, I air every Monday at 6 p.m. Head over to YouTube, search for Persperity Podcast, and share this episode with anyone you know who is currently in the middle of a challenging but beautiful process. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, remember, mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Thank you so much, Ms. Simpson.
Love you, girl. Bye-bye.
That's a wrap for another good episode.